Hello and welcome to my channel again. Today I'm going to show you guys some basic lighting for YouTube. We're talking about $50, $50 to $60 in materials. It's going to look about this good. It's not going to be obviously at the top of lighting conditions, but if you want to do some things in a dark house at nighttime and do some lighting like this, I'll show you how to do it for $50. One of the things you can do instead of buying really expensive lighting systems, if you go to B&H and things like that, you're going to see some lighting systems that start at $150 and they can go up to thousands of dollars. So, and you're going to definitely get better lighting, better color, better hues, things like that. It depends on if you want blue light or yellow light, but at the end of the day, they're going to be pretty good. What I did is basically spend about $50 just to see if I could do it at the Home Depot or Menards, and you can actually find some lights there. Lights are coming down with LEDs, so definitely check out. I got these at Menards, and I'm going to kind of go through here in a second of what I actually got. Alright, so the first light I got is actually at Menards, and basically it's this light here. It's basically a utility light. It's 700 lumens, and it goes up to, looks like it's around, let me see here, 7,000 lumens, 64 watts, and it can go up to about 6,000 K, so some of the colors somewhere in that range. And I got this for about 30, I think it was $34.99, and it's a pretty bright light, so obviously you can't really have it shining right on you. If you do that, then basically you're going to get even more harsh light than I have right now. Again, I'm not going for a perfect setup, I'm going for something pretty basic, but if you shine it right at you, you're going to be blown away. So I'll show you in a second how I actually did it. Alright, so obviously if you pick one of these lights up, like I said before, it's really harsh if you actually point it right at yourself, and I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like, so hold on one second here. I can barely see anything, so this is how it looks if you're pointing that light right at you. So let me go ahead and turn this back and I'll show you what I did here in a second. Alright, so I'm back. So basically what I'm doing with that is I'm actually taking this light here and I'm just basically getting a foam board, a big white piece of foam board, which I'll show you, and I'm deflecting it right off the foam board, and it's hitting that and coming right back and hitting the side of my face. So compared to it being completely, directed at me, you can see the difference. It's going to get a lot softer on my face. Granted, again, I'm not doing a professional setup, so anyone that's basically a professional photographer or videographer out there, please be careful with your comments and please don't attack me too much, but I'm just showing people how to do this really cheap for under $50. So obviously this is not a perfect setup, but it's going to just diffuse the light a little bit so that it's not just clobbering your face on one side so you look like you're washed out. So over here you can see that I basically have a light that's actually the light that I was talking about. It's basically beaming off a whiteboard over here. And you can see that that's basically producing the light that's bouncing back at me. If you point this right at you, it's way too harsh, so this is a really good idea to just get a big whiteboard like this, set it in the corner of the room, have the light bounce right off of it, and it'll basically fill your face perfectly in a lot of cases. You can fool with the angles and things like that. You can bounce it off the ceiling, depending on the look you want, but that's basically the light I have going over there. So the other light in the shot that's actually pointing at me is basically a little light up here, straight ahead. It's a tin work light you can pick up for about $9. Those things you can actually put your own bulb in. It can be an LED light, and it can just, obviously a little bit of accent light from the deflection over here. It can actually, fill your face a little bit on this side. But besides that, I just have normal lighting, which, obviously in this shot would be almost pitch black if I didn't have these other lights shining at me. So it just gives a little bit of an accent, and I get some of the soft lights in the back as well. I do know it's a little bit harsh over here. Just keep that in mind. It's just, again, this is a cheap setup, and I'm just showing you guys how you can do something, on the cheap, and if you wanted to get into YouTube videos. So this is going to be one of the lights I was talking about. It's about a $5 to $10 light. It's basically a cheap metal light that you can pick up at Menards for about, like I said, $10. You put your own light in it, and you can use these. You can mount these with the little clip here, and you can put these anywhere out throughout the house that you want them. Usually they're used as accent lighting because they're not that bright, but for the money, it's a great way to, obviously to light up the scene. Back here I do have some accent lighting, and these are basically just puck lights. You can pick these up at Menards for they're about $15 only, and there's 2 of them that come in a pack. And you can see that these are gonna be LEDs, and they change a number of colors. They basically are waterproof. They have a seal on them, so you can submerge them like in some kind of water. I think they're like for plants or something, but and you have this little device here that you can use to actually change the colors of them. So obviously, as I'm holding them here, you can see green. I don't know if the camera's picking up this much. Blue or purple, different type of blue, green, yellow, and then red, which I had. It's for 15 bucks. It's great. I'm not actually placing these anywhere crazy right now. I'm just showing you kind of how they work back there. But that's how the accent light works. And those are, again, something you can pick up really cheap for 15 bucks, and you know, you get some kind of accent lighting depending on the room. So keep that in mind. So one more light I can actually show you today, and I'm not going to actually, I didn't have this in the cost of the $60. This is about $20 by itself, and I'm going to do another video on this sooner or later. But this is a Bell & Howell. I got this at Menards also. And it's basically an LED light. You can see I'll turn on here. It basically is a good light if you want to like basically light different parts of your face over here. You obviously this will be a little bit further away. It'll even everything out. You can see the difference here if you actually have a light source coming from this side of the video. And it does a good job at evening everything out. If you have this combined with the other side, it lights the scene really well. Of course, it's going to depending on how close it is to you, and also gives a little bit of a blue color. You can't really change the color of this light, so keep that in mind if you're really sensitive about the type of color that you want. Beyond that, though, it's got a little stand on it, and it does a good job. So, just a tip: if you want another light in your scene and you want to actually have more of a, not so much dark on this side and light on this side, you can just put a little light like this, maybe about less than 10 feet away, and it's going to light the side of your face. Can you get a perfect setup for $50 or $60? No. I'm using maybe a $450 camera, and I got basically lights that cost about $50 or $60. So just showing people that it's doable for a small cost out there. You don't have to spend $500-600 until you're ready to do that. I know a lot of people go out and do that, and they spend more money on the lights than the actual camera. It's really the content that really matters. So just keep that in mind. That if you have good content, the lighting won't matter at all. So I hope this is actually going to give you a good idea on what you can get for about 50 bucks. It's not obviously perfect lighting, and a lot of it has to do with how you're actually filming too on your camera and the ISO and things like that. But long story short, I'm filming at I think 400 ISO right now. It's not incredibly bright in here. I have some other background lights and things like that going, but you can see from this it's not going to be the award-winning setup that you might get from a lighting setup that costs thousands of dollars. But if you just want to do some simple videos that aren't just completely terrible, this is a pretty good setup, and go out and pick them up over at Menards, and you can have a setup like this. So please watch my channel, subscribe to it if you can. I'm trying to get some subscribers, and until the next video, we'll see you soon.